Let's quickly summarize what we have talked about this week. This week, we started with an introduction to training and development as one of the most critical functions of human resource management. We spoke about the difference between training, learning, and development, and why organizations not only invest money in training and development, but also why training and development is critical for an organization's success. Followed by which we talked about the training and development life cycle, which starts with the training needs identification, where we talked about assessing the competencies that people have, the competencies that they require, doing some kind of gap analysis, prioritizing which gaps are important and which can be fulfilled, and then understanding or planning and creating what I call a learning journey. After you have assessed, the second part of the training life cycle is training design. While there are a vast array of options on how do you design or deliver your training, from online to offline, from formal to informal, choosing the best method should be based on what are the organization's objectives, whether the knowledge that people need to learn in this particular training intervention is complex or simple, and you can follow the 70-20-10 principle, which is 70% of the learning should be on the job, 20% of the learning should be based on social interaction, and 10% of the learning should be based on a classroom. After which we talked about the training delivery. Once you have designed the training intervention, we need to actually deliver it. And we spoke about some of the questions that you can think about when creating or delivering a training program or a training intervention. Finally, we talked about one of the more critical aspects of a training life cycle, which is training evaluation. How do I ensure that the training intervention that I'm giving are effective? And we spoke about different models, from Kirkpatrick's model, which is widely used and possibly the simplest to use, to Krager's model. Krager's model argued that there need to be 3 areas on which training evaluation should focus, and each of these areas should be measured in a multi-dimensional format. I then introduced you to the concept of a learning organization. An organization which is able to learn, adapt, especially to external changes, which will allow it to grow and change as required, ensuring sustainable competitive advantage. And one of the clear messages of learning organizations is organizational support is required. A culture of learning is required. Experimentation should be allowed, and knowledge sharing is done through both person to person means and person to machine means. The person to machine being a knowledge management system, and the person to person being an informal knowledge sharing mechanism. We spoke about some of the elements that you can think about when you are creating an organization, or more specifically, a learning organization. And finally, we spoke about 9 dimensions that you need to have in your organization to create a strong learning and development function. And one of the most important elements is aligning your learning and development function with the organizational objectives. Constantly monitoring how my learning interventions are impacting business performance or business metrics. I hope you have a chance to go through these videos and understand the nuances of learning and development. Thank you, and I shall see you in the next video.